Hello, everybody. It looks like we're live. Hopefully, everybody can hear me. So I'm just going to do a few things. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to the live stream this morning. And I've got a lot of exciting stuff to go through with you today on this live stream. This is a last minute kind of live stream that I decided to do yesterday. I thought, oh, you know what? On Saturday, I've got some work to do around creating some course content using artificial intelligence. And I thought, you know what, while I'm doing that, why not just live stream some of the things that I'm doing and then share that with you. So hopefully that's interesting for anybody who's here now or anybody who shows up a little bit later. We should be in good shape. So let me just grab my browser here. So I have a couple of things that I need to do. I'm just going to move my browser window off to a screen that's here on the side. And then I'm going to open up some windows here on my screen that I'm going to share with you. So we'll have that. And so just as a heads up, this isn't really a live stream that I've planned out or that I have any specific agenda to. It's more of a structured approach to how I'm going to be creating some courses and using AI in an educational context. Some of the tools that I've discovered that I find very useful, but individual tools I think are better when you stack them with other tools. Because generally speaking, each AI tool will have its own focus, its own specialty. And by combining those specialties, I think we can get some pretty amazing results. So I'm going to go in and we're going to share a screen. So you should see my browser on a screen. This will be the screen in front of me. And this will be our main screen for taking a look at some of the tools and working with some of the tools. Now, and also when I do that, just so you know, I'll have to go back and forth between my authenticator apps and such. And just to keep my housekeeping in order, just so you know, I do have a cat who currently refuses to leave this desk. She wants to sit here, and that's Blossom. Sometimes she'll put her tail up in the air. Okay, show everybody your tail. Why not? Yeah, okay, fine. What the heck? Oh, she's got a bed over there, so maybe she'll settle down and go there. You know, if you comment either, well, I don't know if anybody's here in the live stream yet, but comment if you have a cat and if your cat does that, like absolutely attacks you whenever you use your computer. And I don't know why. It's a cat thing. Okay, so I'm going to go in and let's take a look here. So I'm the other reason I'm doing this live stream is I also want to practice some work with my live streaming software, which is StreamYard. So I've done some live streams before, but you know, never hurts to continually practice. Okay, so let's take a look. I did create one thing here that I wanted to share with everyone. So let me just pop over here, and it's a Microsoft Whiteboard. So I'll just bring up Microsoft Whiteboard. I will have to authenticate here. Oh, I'm already on. Okay, so when we talk about working with AI in education, the big thing that always comes into play that people will ask almost immediately right away is they'll be like, okay, AI has a place, but will it replace teaching? Will it substitute for that in-classroom experience? And anybody who knows anything about education knows that that answer is an absolute no. The ability to communicate and motivate and inspire and mentor people is still a very human type of trait. And I think for the foreseeable future, we can expect those types of skills to remain human. I don't really think that we'll have an AI, well, you know, can't predict the future, but I think AI and human traits are still have a large chasm between them. But what AI can do, and what I think is very useful, is it can help us create content quickly. It can save us time. It can make us more productive in education. And that productivity can manifest itself in better service to students that might be struggling, better service to students that might want to get ahead and do more, better opportunities for students to navigate through material using different tools, the ability to flip the classroom. There's been a lot written on how AI will affect and change education, but I think that, and there's a great book by Salman Khan, Khan Academy, the fellow who started Khan Academy. He has a great book on AI and education, one amongst many. But I think the real key here is that we're going to be able to save time and we're going to be able to have development cycles that are very quick. And I think those development cycles in terms of ideation to course delivery are going to be shortened by the use of AI. We need to make sure that there's not bureaucratic processes that slow us down, because the world is changing rapidly. I mean, that's been said for a long time, but we cannot have a 1 year, 2 year course development cycle in a world where the content for that course will literally change every 3 months. Some courses are even faster. So I'm, in addition to being a YouTuber and a teacher and all this sort of stuff, I also, I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. And as part of that, whenever I'm teaching a Microsoft course, I have to go and look for updated course materials. They're constantly updating the course materials. Amazon Web Services, same thing. Any technology company. So I wanted to go through, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the structure of how I create courses using AI. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about the various tools that I use. And then I have to get some work done today. So I wanted to build a course and thought, you know what, I'll just do it as a live stream. So if we take a look at the sort of the where we're going to go with this particular live stream today, is we're going to look at how we can use AI. We're going to look at some AI tools that will help me ideate and structure some of the things that I might want to teach. So in our case, let's get meta. And in my case, I'm going to create a course today on AI, or artificial intelligence, for workplace productivity. So let's say hypothetically I'm teaching a course. That course is on whatever. I teach business intelligence. It could be on teaching something around data analysis. It could be whatever course I'm teaching. We know that the professional skills are a key component of students successfully entering the workplace and effectively securing jobs. So we also know that in order to be effective in securing a job and entering the workplace, that those students need to have modern professional productivity skills. And nothing is more in line to that than something like artificial intelligence. And if you are interested, I don't know if anybody's here at the moment. Comments are kind of weird. I can only see comments on YouTube. So if somebody does have a comment, please feel free to post in there and say, hey, I'm here, I'm alive. Otherwise, I'll assume that maybe some folks will be watching this after the live stream. So, and hopefully you can comment there. But the comment I would ask is, if you're interested, I can do some training on Microsoft 365 as a productivity suite environment, on Google Workspaces as a productivity suite and environment. But those would be separate live streams. So let's get back to the diagram here. So, and I'm not going to use the pens here. I'll just, maybe a little bit. Okay, so we want to begin by using ideation. We want to be able to find ideas and coming up with a premise or something that we want to teach someone. That is usually something that's topical. It's something that we know we want to teach. But sometimes structuring that can take a little bit of time. And remember, our entire objective here, I'm just erase this line because it's bothering me. Our entire objective here is not to replace our creativity or to replace our ability to structure material. It's to expedite it. So if I can use some tools to expedite my ideation, then I'm going to be able to compress the entire process from ideation to delivery. And then what we need to do is we need to gather resources. In many cases, some of these resources may already exist in our environment. So for example, if I have a set of standards that I need to teach towards, or if I have existing course outlines or existing course curriculum, those are resources that I can use, but I need to provide those resources to the AI so that the AI can consume those resources and use those as part of its input. In our case, we're going to create those resources by using AI. So we're going to create the food for AI by using AI to create the food. So kind of meta again. And then all of that input, our structure, the idea we have, the resources that we gather, we're going to use that to generate a course. And that course, we're going to use a specific tool that I'm quite fond of to generate the course. And that's going to allow us to really create a really nice course structure and outline specifically for an online course. Now, I'm not going to go into every single tool that I use in my teaching practice because there's a lot of them. For example, I have some tools that work exclusively in a Windows environment, some tools that work in both Windows and Mac. I'm on a Mac right now, and I'm using mostly web-based tools in this particular live stream. But there is, if you've seen some of my other videos, there's a tool called iSpring that I really like for creating engaging presentations that can then be used to generate an online course as well with quizzes. But that's another topic for another day. We're going to use a different generation tool in this one that's also quite good. The two combined would be a real powerhouse. And then once we've used AI to generate that course, we need to tailor that course, because as good as AI is, there are limitations, and the only people that know our environment and our students and what we're trying to accomplish is us, ourselves. We're the only ones who know that. So this is our roadmap for today. And I'm just going to go through and we're going to talk about all of the different things here to go. So let's talk a little bit about ideation and how we can do different types of ideation. Now, here's an example of a tool that I tend to use when I'm on a computer. And the reason that I use this tool on a computer is because, let me just grab this, is because the computer has more functionality than the web app, but the web app will give you a demonstration, and I'll talk a little bit about that. So effectively what the brain is a great tool for organizing and structuring your ideas, but it can also be used to generate structure to an existing idea. So our idea is we want to do AI for workplace productivity. That's kind of our goal. And one of the things about the live stream is that you'll have to suffer my horrible typing and the time it takes to type. So I'm creating what's called a brain. It's a mind map, or it's a thought map. So I'll just push this over here. So you can see I have my topic here. So I've decided that I want to create a course on artificial intelligence for workplace productivity. This is a course that I'm going to give to all of my students, no matter what topic they're studying, to be able to go in and have a sense of how they could use AI effectively in their job. But what comprises this? Well, this is where I can use AI to generate ideas here. So I'll go in here and you can see I can set categories. I can create a list. I can generate thought structure, or I can generate child thoughts, which would be a nice structure for a course. So I can, if I go in here, I can even generate a note. So I'm going to go and generate some child thoughts, and you'll see this in action. So what will happen is this will immediately go through and it'll talk about how I can use AI for collaboration, communication, customer service, data analysis, all of these different categories that I could use AI to be more productive at work. And if I like this, I can accept this. And if I wanted to, I could go in, for example, with collaboration. So I could choose collaboration here. And underneath collaboration, if I wanted to, I could generate a note about collaboration. And specifically, I would feed this more with collaboration using AI. So right now, the note that's being generated would just be on collaboration in general. We'll see if it picks up on the fact that I'm interested in AI here. So it can sometimes take a few moments. And on a computer, this would be something that it's quite quick, gives me a nice outline. Yeah, so I'm having some, here, because I'm on a web interface, I'm not getting that note generated. I'll have to play around with this. But what I did want to show you is an example of a tool that would allow me to do quick outlines for specific courses. So I could do this and I could generate more material. Of course, we also have our usual suspects. So we can go into our Chat GPT. I'll just log in here. And you can see with Chat GPT, I could do something like create an outline for a course aimed at vocational learners in a trade school on how to use AI for productivity. So I'll just put this in, workplace productivity. Now, we can have a long discussion about the idea of how we create prompts. And, with a prompt, you want to have a objective, you want to have an audience, you might want to go in and do things along the lines of specific things that you're looking for. This is a pretty high level prompt. It's not going to be great. I could go deep research, okay? So I could put that in there and provide as many details as possible for results. So I could say in here, because I'm looking for an outline, I could say I would like a 5-module course that explains and provides case studies for how AI is used in a workplace setting. Okay, so I can go in here and we'll just fire this off, this query. So we'll fire this, and it's going to ask for some clarification here. So specific trades. So you can see I'm having a conversation with ChatGPT. And, in this case here, I can say, let's say the students will be studying business administration. So that answers the first point. Level of familiarity with, they are familiar with technology in the office, but not specifically AI. And what else would they like to know? Should include things like hands-on. Yep, sure. The course should include hands-on exercises using, and we could say Copilot or Excel. We'll say ChatGPT, Copilot, and Excel. Sure, why not do that? And the fourth point is, are there specific workplace scenarios? No. A general, got the cap locks on. A general overview is sufficient, just based upon the size of this course. So we'll fire that off, see if it asks me any more questions. And this is more when it's doing the deep research. So we'll let ChatGPT do this. Now, of course, there's other tools that I could use. So another tool that I like to use quite a bit is Gemini. Now, Gemini, I tend to use more if I'm doing anything where I might want to do some SEO. And I'll say not now. So I could run the same prompts here, right? So it's doing my deep research here, but I could go in and without deep research, let's just pop in here and create an outline using Gemini. But I'm not going to go in too deep on this one. I won't do the deep research. I'll just generate it, so it'll be a little bit faster for us. So here's a little 5-module course. And then other tools that I like to use, a tool that I find very useful is a tool called Venice.AI. And I'll come back to this in a bit because Venice.AI has the ability to go out privately. So I can go out privately and I can do searches that way, which is great. I'm not too deeply concerned about privacy in this particular application, but with other searches I might. But what's interesting here, and we'll just fire this in here as well, same query, is that I can choose from amongst multiple models. So this gives me the ability to compare different AI result sets, but in each case, what I'm doing is I'm generating that course outline. With ChatGPT, I'm doing the deep research. With Gemini and Venice, I'm doing basic research. And here you can see with Gemini, with Venice.AI, I can choose different models. So I can see this model here. Let's try a Lambda model. So it's the most intelligent. So let's use the Lambda model in here. And you can see that I might get similar results, but I might get some nuanced differences here. And that can really help me as the human in the mix here choose which course outline I think is most applicable. Let's see how our AI is doing here. So we got ChatGPT still doing the research because you know, deep research, it's queued up, so it'll take a while for it to do. There we go. It's creating the 5 modules. You can see here it's starting to do this. Okay, and with Gemini, I've got the basic outline, and with Venice.AI, you can see that off of the initial model that I was using, the Minstrel model, it's already generated the outline just like Gemini, and with my Llama model, it's actually still generating it. Oh, there it is. It got it. So you can see here that it's going to be a fairly similar model, but you can see here I use the Llama 3.1. And we're going to come back to Venice.AI because I can also generate images, which is very useful for augmenting my course once I've done the course. And if I need to make a course dealing with computer code, I have all the models here. So I do like Venice because I have a whole little set of models that I can use. And I'll put links to all of this in the description of the video once I post it. Or, you know, I don't think anybody's here at the exact moment, but let me just grab this. We'll grab that and I will paste that into the, I don't know if I can post a comment. Let's see if it'll let me. Oh yeah, it put in. So these are all the links to all of the software that I'm using today. So there's a whole bunch in there. And you can check those out if you're interested. And I'm just going to grab this here. And we will go back to our screen. Okay, so as you can see, I'm in my ideation. And you can see that by using AI, I very quickly created a resource, in my case, a course outline. And that course outline can be very useful. We'll come back to that. So I would save the course outline and I could save that as a document, right? So, you know, I can go in there. I can, you know, still using that. And you can see here that I've got some course titles, some outlines, some modules. Some of the things I don't like in here as a human that's done courses before, but that's okay. I can edit these, right? And we'll just stick with our Llama model here in Venice.AI. And maybe what I'll ask is, you know, can you provide a set of core competencies on using AI in the workplace? We'll just leave it at that. Can you set a set of core competencies? So these may be ones that as an organization or as a governmental body, we may have come up with these competencies that we're trying to have in our environment. So you can see here that I've got some fundamental competencies in here as well. And these will become important later. So what I'll do is I'll just take the results from my Venice.AI and I'm just going to copy the course title and the 5 modules that I have. And we'll go ahead and we'll copy that. So we'll right click and we'll copy that. And I will just grab a new note. So I'm just going to grab a new note over here and grab a quick note. And we'll go ahead and grab a new note. So, didn't want that. I'm clicking on the other screen. I've created a new folder. So here we go, new note. So I'm going to have my new note and I'll paste in that. And that's going to be my course title. And then I will create, so I've got my course title in here. Let's drag it over here so you can see it. Or maybe not. Come on. Okay, so I've got my note over here. And I'm just keeping track of all of the various things. So this will be a note here. And I'll go in, grab my note, and create a new note. And underneath this new note, I'll make this my competencies. So I'll scroll down a little bit here and we'll say, what are my functional or foundational competencies? So we'll grab these and we'll copy it. And like I said earlier, the objective today is I do want to build up some stuff here. So I'm trying to create this as we go along. So I'm actually hoping to utilize this to build a course on using AI in the workplace, which I'll have to develop. So anyhow, so we have our generated resources, and you can see here it's still building a lot when it comes to the deep research. So I'm still going to have that, and I've got my breadcrumb trail of everything that it's using in order to do this. So I'm quite pleased with the depth of the research. So I'm looking forward to the ChatGPT result. So what I'm doing is I have the idea for a course. I could use a tool like the brain in order to structure that. And then I went into ChatGPT, Gemini, and Venice.AI and used each of those tools a little differently to generate a course outline and to generate a set of core competencies. Those could be resources that I gather elsewhere. All of this will form the foundation of some input that I can use to create the course. So if I now go into another tool that I like to use, and this is going to be the eSkilled Course Creator. So I'll go AI Course Creator. I'll find it in there. I had these all bookmarked before, but didn't get it there. So let me go back. I had these all bookmarked before, but then my Apple computer, my Mac, had a security where I had to go ahead and redo everything. Anyways, let's pop in here and put in my password. Okay, so go ahead and put that in there. And it doesn't exist. Okay, so how did I do this one? All right, let's just take that off for a second there. Okay, so one moment, please. Let me go into my other screen here just for a second. I'll be right back with you. And I'm just going to go into my AI Course Creator. And I'll go back here. I'm just going to log in here. I have to check out I have to remember all my email addresses here. So we'll see which one I was using for them. And we'll grab it. And so, I don't think I currently have anybody visiting me, but that's okay. Just comment after the fact if you see this. If you see this live stream, if you have any other resources that you think or anything that you think so far. And let me just see here. And we'll grab this here. There we go. So I'm going to go in, grab a different course here, and we'll go into. All right, so I have this back here. So what I've done is I've logged into my eSkilled AI Course Creator account. This is Learning and Technology with Frank. And you can see, so let's have a look at where we're heading, and then we'll look at how we get there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I already did some courses for using Course Creator. I created a course on data modeling for business intelligence. That particular course I created a video on, so you can find that on my channel. And I created another one called Critical Thinking and Logical Fallacies. Let's go take a look at the Critical Thinking and Logical Fallacies course. And in fact, what I can do here is I will copy the URL and I'll put that into our live stream chat. If you want to pop over and take a look at this course as well, you're certainly welcome to. And you can see when I start this course, so start the course here, I've got my trail down the side, how far I've completed it. This is something I would want to change. I generally think I want to have a different page instead of just jumping right into learning objectives. But what I want to show you here is first of all, the course itself, this was all generated with AI. So this entire course was all built with AI. I can obviously go in and edit this, but we're going to be building a course on AI skills for the workplace. And you'll see that I'm able to create this. One of the things that we can also do with this tool is modify courses. So once a course is created, I can go in and you can see I've added videos. So this is a video off a different channel that I have on creative and critical thinking. And you can see that I've taken what was generated by the course creator and I've added my own media in here, and we'll see how to do that as well. So you can see that I've created these courses here. If I go back to my home, I can go in and we can create a course. Now, in order to create a course using the AI course creator, it's going to prompt us to put information. I could go straight into this particular tool and start generating a course with AI, but by going through and taking some idea to ideate about what I want in my course, by generating those resources using AI, I'm going to be able to use this as input for the course creator in order to get a better quality course. So what I'm going to do, and it's a pretty good quality course without, but I'm going to go in and let me just see if I've got, see, I'm still hammering away on that, but I do have my two notes that I have in here. So my course name was going to be AI for workplace productivity. And you can see right now, I don't know how long we are in the live stream. We're about 30 minutes in. We've gone over the tools and such. But this already, what I've generated in terms of course outlines and core competencies, would have been a much longer process if I was not using AI. So I want to describe my course audience. So here I could cut and paste it in, but I already have this. This course, I'll just type it in, is for students in a business, business administration program that need to learn about the role that AI, artificial intelligence, plays in workplace productivity. Now, the more specific I can get here, the better result I'm going to get. Okay, these students are all adults, 18 and older. Maybe an occasional 17-year-old can sneak in there. So we can go in there, 18 and older. They are enrolled in a number of courses that teach technical and professional skills. And when I'm typing and talking at the same time, it doesn't go so well, but it doesn't matter. When I'm typing and not talking, it still is an issue. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee, maybe it'll make my fingers work better. All right, so, maybe this is enough to describe my audience. Maybe I need to describe my audience a little bit more. The point is, the more that I put in here, the better I'm gonna get as a result. I have 500 characters, so I think that'll be sufficient. Now, describe my course in detail. So here's where I could go back to a tool. Let's say we're still waiting on that one. We'll go to Gemini, and we'll say create a course description for the above. Because remember, it's memorized my chat in there, so I'm part of a conversation. So it's going to go into a course description. Okay, so there's quite a bit there, but that's fine. We'll take this one here. I could also go into Venice.AI because I do like the models in Venice.AI, but we'll go in here and we will pop that in as my course description. And yep, we're within the character limit. And here's the real key to this particular tool. I can attach files. So what I can do here is I can upload files, things like units of competency, curriculum documents, learning resources, many, many different tools that I can load in here. So before I do that, we're going to introduce yet another tool. So just as a recap and to show where we are, we went in, we're gathering resources. By spending time in this phase, we're going to have much more quality input for the generation phase. We did the brain in order to get a structure. I'll close that for now. We have there we go. You can see that my AI has generated this great document for me. We'll just go down to the bottom here. So I've got this document from ChatGPT. And you know what I'll do is I will go up and maybe I will grab this course outline and I'm going to drag the whole thing. So I suppose there's a Control A for all, or I could just ask it to make this into a document, but I'm going to go slightly lazy way, or less efficient way, I suppose. And I'm going to put this in as a note, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to take these notes and we are going to, if I can bring that over, well, I'll go ahead and create a new note over here. I'll just paste that in so I don't lose it. Okay, so we have everything in here. I'm just gonna show you that I did that. Okay, so we have here, so I have my note here, and I don't particularly care too much about formatting here, but I have my 3 notes that I have for the course outline, the core competencies, and the more detailed outline, because we want to use these as documents. So I'll come back here. The other tool that we're going to do to create another document is, I'll keep this here, and I'll place that right about here, is we're going to use a tool called AnswerThis. And what AnswerThis allows me to do, and we'll just sign into here and go in as myself. I think this is one where I'm using a Google account. We'll find out soon enough. Yeah, here I am. So AnswerThis is a very useful tool because it can generate literature reviews for me. So what AnswerThis will do is go out into different libraries and it will create a structured literature review. It can help me with writing. Now, when I use AnswerThis, I'll show you. Let's say we want to say AI as a tool for workplace productivity. Now, here's where we may do a little bit of a shortcut because of the live stream, because some of this can take a little bit of time. But if I go in, it'll generate an entire literature review on this subject. But a lot of times what I want to do is I want to go in and I can upload my own PDFs. By default, what's going to happen with AnswerThis is that it'll grab different papers from open source academia, which means that it might not grab everything that I want, especially if I have some good articles that are behind paywalls, where there's research that's been done and the topic has been published in a journal that requires me to authenticate or have a library subscription. I can download PDFs that I'm entitled to download and research on, and I can push them here so that they become part of the literature review that's generated. So I'm going to generate a generic literature review, a little bit of a lower end. It's still a very good literature review. I could do deep research. I could add my own elements to it. But you'll see, even just like this, I'll generate a literature review, and it'll be an incredible document that's going to help me as part of my input for my course creation. So we'll allow that to do its analysis here. Meanwhile, what I'll need to do is take my notes that I have here. So let's pop into my notes. I'm just going to I'll grab this note and I'll select everything here. And we will copy this. And I'm just going to create some PDF documents. So I use a tool, I feel like I'm using a lot of tools here today, but I use a tool called UPDF. So let me just open that. So UPDF. And we'll open this tool here. So this is my, remind me later because we're busy at the moment. Okay, so what I can do is I can upload a file in here. Okay, I'll just sign in then. So let me see if this is, I have to remember what I used to sign in here. Okay, and is this me? I think it is, maybe not. Okay, think I'm signed in. Yeah, I can upload documents in here. Okay, so what I can do is underneath the PDF tools, I can actually create PDFs, right? So I can go, convert anything I might have to a PDF. So if my curriculum documents are in a Word format, then what I can do is I can convert that into a PDF. So that becomes very useful, kind of a little useful tool here. I didn't put a link to this particular tool, but let me know if you do want a link to it. I have videos on this as well. But what I'm able to do is I can take any document. I'll show you the Word one. So let me actually open up. I think I have Word installed here to the world of Mac. We'll see. No, I do not. I don't have Word currently installed on here. So let's just move this out of the way. Okay, open. Yeah, it was fine. So cancel. I just did open it. Okay, so we have the course in there. We're going to create a course. Okay, we're going to load documents in there. Where is my... Let's find this here. I'm just going to grab a note here and we'll go from there. Just one moment. So grab my note and maybe I'll go here and we will just go export as PDF. So if I have documents that are like Word documents or PowerPoints, I can convert those to PDFs and then use those by using UPDF. But here, I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to convert this document to a PDF and grab that. Okay. Okay. So I think I just did that. Export as PDF. And I'm just waiting for the window. Lots of windows open. Okay. And then we will go into, let's grab another note. Okay. Grab a list. I'm just on another, so I have my foundational. Let's go back here. So let's grab that. So all I'm doing here is I'm in notes, okay? And all I'm going to do with my notes is I'm going to export these notes as PDFs. So we'll grab this note here and we'll go into export as PDF. Off it goes. We'll grab this note and we will export it as PDF. Okay. And then we will go into my documents and we will grab it from there. Okay, so you can see here that I've got these documents shared out as PDFs or saved as PDFs. I have to make sure that it did the job. Let me grab, I'm going to a Finder window and go into, yeah, it didn't grab those. Oh, for goodness sakes. Documents. All right, well, one of the joys of the live stream here. So let me grab all of this. I'm going to go the long way here. And I will take this and let's go ahead. And for some reason, my export out to PDF seems to, yeah, it's giving me a little error message here. It could just be something that's configured on my computer. But what I can do is I can grab all of this note. This is my outline here. I can copy this. And what I can do is quickly create a new PDF. Out of it. And grab Okay, so it wants to create a PDF from a file. Okay, so fine. Okay, so so always when you're going live. So let's export this, or let's open it in Pages. Okay, so I have Apple Pages here. Yeah, here we go. Thank you very much. Okay, and there we go. So I have it as Pages, and then here, let's go ahead and see if that will export out to PDF. There we go. So now I've got it out as a PDF, and I will go ahead and save this. Okay, and we will save this. So create a title. We'll save it in Documents. We'll export it out. Thank you very much. That was a bit of a long walk. So here we are. Okay, save it. Okay, then we will go in and I will grab my next. And we will go ahead and say with this one, let's open this in Pages. Now that'll open in Pages. Then we'll take that one and we will save it as export to PDF. And that will go again to Documents as well. So foundational competencies. And then we will go to our next note. This is the one that was done through deep search or deep processing, deep thinking. I didn't want to do that. I want to open it in Pages. I don't know why the export to PDFs all of a sudden decided to give me grief, but I can live with it. And we will then save this, export this out to a PDF. So there we go. And we have now 3 PDFs. So we have the course outlines, we have our documents that we need. Save it and grab this and save it. We're saving it as Pages, so not the best thing. But anyways, so now I have those documents, but I also have this literature review that was just generated. So I have this nice literature review that was generated by AnswerThis, and this is going to really give me some information on, what it's, some of the research that's been done on AI for workplace productivity. So you can go back here. Let's do a recap. So we went in, we did ideation, we generated several resources, we generated a course outline, we generated core competencies, we generated a literature review, and we generated a deep thought ChatGPT, deep search, deep seek document. So we have 4 great documents. If we go back to creating our course, let's bring those documents into our environment. So if I go to documents, you can see I've got my course outline. I've got I'll just do it. So I'll do my course outline. We'll bring that in, and that is going to be a course outline. So we'll see if we have the course outline specifically. We don't. So that will go in as a curriculum document, and we'll add that in. Then I can attach another file. We can attach these all at the same time, by the way. So that was the course. So we'll do foundational competencies. For that one there, I will put those in as units of competency. Not exactly a match, but we'll go in there. We'll attach another file. This is going to be my course title. This is the bigger one, right? So this is going to be my more complex one here. That's going to be a curriculum document. We'll add that in. We'll go back to AnswerThis. We'll take this literature review. We can save that directly as a PDF, right? So I can go into the export this out, export it out to, well, those are my sources. I can go into my document here, and we can go in and export this out. So you can see here, my literature review, blah, 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 blah. Okay, perfect. And I will go in and let's see. Okay, we got the information here. So let's just go in here. Sometimes I have to find it. Export. Okay, so I'll actually change that to APA. And we will go in and we will export that. Grab it as a PDF. We'll add it to my library. So that paper is saved to my library. You can see I've got my library here. I can look at the PDFs in here. Implementing AI to the workplace, right? So I have all of these different papers that are in there. Those are all saved to my library, right? If I go to my literature review, you can see that I've generated the literature review in there. I'll go back to the library search papers in there. So I can go in here and grab any of this information, and I can start extracting it. Now, in this case here, I'm just having a bit of a slight issue with my projects here. No, where's my literature review? Okay, so I need to extract this out as a PDF. So let me quickly figure that one out. So we'll go ahead and grab my library, and we'll go in. This is all my papers that are in there. And we will look at, let's let me export it out as a CSV, that into PDF. But if we go in here and all right, so I'm not able to quickly find this. I'm just going to go in and grab this, see the results for my AI as a tool. Welcome to Livestream. Okay, so here is my tool here. And okay, those are my sources. I want to get this out. Oh, there goes share. And no. Let's say I want to edit it some more. What I want to do is pull this out as a PDF. So I should be able to grab this out as a export. Okay, it's on the side here. Oh, I've got it exported. There we go. So there's my PDF. A little bit of a long walk to get there, but I'm going to go in here. It doesn't have the best name. It's just called PDF. It's under downloads. So we go into my downloads and we'll just grab it as, sort it by date created, date added, date created. So PDF. It doesn't have a great name. It's just called PDF1. You want to probably give it a better name if you're going to work with it, but we'll add that in. Okay. Type, it's going to be, let's say this would be yeah, I think this is going to be other. I'll make this an other. It's a literature review. So now I've added the literature review. So, welcome to the live stream. So this is where we're, building stuff as we go along. Sometimes you're poking around in here to find stuff. So we have this in here. So what I've really done here, going back, we grabbed everything. We generated lots of resources, course outline, core competency, second course outline, as well as a literature review by using AI. And now what we can do is go in and we can start saying, what do I want to do in terms of making this course targeted towards a specific audience? So here, right, I can say I want to make this more of a standard. So you can go in and look at the different levels. So you can have an overview course. Actually, I'll make this an overview. We'll make this a little bit easier. It's going to be an overview course. It could be focused or, thorough coverage or really in-depth coverage. Because of the time constraints here, I just want to make this an overview of AI in the workplace. I've certainly given it a lot of information that's more in-depth, but here we go. Reading level, I generally want to go one level below what I'm expecting. So I'm going to make it standard. Again, here you can see that standard would be aimed at a reading age of 12 to 14. But generally speaking, if you go one level below your target, so 15 to 18 or 18 plus, you want to kind of aim it towards your target audience there. I'm just going to make it standard reading level. I can make it English UK, or I can make it English American, whatever I want. There's languages I can put in there, whole bunch of different languages. I'll just keep it English UK. Tone of voice, this could be professional, funny, dramatic, excited, casual. I want to make this a little more casual because this course is going to be a course to supplement the student studies. This isn't going to be a course that necessarily is going to be deep. This is not going to be a course that's, required. It's going to be a course for students that want to go just a little above and beyond in terms of understanding the use of AI in the workplace. Maybe I want to create another course where it's more in depth, but this is just my casual overview. And then some other considerations here. I can basically feed the course any considerations. For example, if I want to say, make sure that this can be done in a short period of time, make sure that no module takes more than 15 minutes, things like that. And also I skipped over, but you'll notice I'm in Canada, so it's going to use Canadian case studies. It's going to use Canadian examples. I could change that for whatever geographic region my audience will be in. I'm in Canada, so I'll keep Canada. And then I'll go next here. So in terms of category, right, I have categories that I've already created here. So I can create a new category, artificial intelligence. And in terms of the topic navigation, I could force people to go through the topics one at a time, or I can allow them to jump around. I'll allow them to jump around. I could add learning objectives to the beginning of the course if I want to. So that's a toggle, their learning objectives. I'm just going to have them jump right into the course. I won't put the learning objectives up front. And then there's a number of templates I can use. Everything in these templates can be modified. That'll be the final phase of this course where we go through and we talk about it. So artificial intelligence, let's find something that's kind of, techie looking. Let's have a look at, or the workplace. Let's do that. We'll do geared up for the workplace, say next to this. And then I can decide whether or not I want to put formative assessments in there, a little quiz in there. So maybe I'll do a quiz in there. I can have both true and false questions as well as single and multiplayers in there. I'm going to set the number of questions just to 3 questions at the end of each of the 5 modules, and they'll be able to continue even if they don't get the questions right. So we can go in there, and I could even modify the outline to put some manual considerations in there. So if there's something that I really want to make sure is in there, I could make sure it's in the outline. But let's go ahead and we'll generate the outline, right? So we're going to go ahead and generate the outline. By the way, this will use some of my credits in terms of generating. So keep an eye on those. Depending on your subscription, you get a certain number of credits that you can use for any of the AI tokens that you need to redeem. So generating the course will use some tokens, and then generating any images, which we'll see in a moment, will also use some tokens, although we can generate images in another tool and import them in as well. So it's putting on some of the outline touches in here, and it's going to go in and generate the outline, which I can then modify. Have another sip of coffee. So it's always weird when you do a live stream. So I don't know if anybody's watching this now. I don't know if anybody's watching this later. Maybe I'm the only one here, but I had to do this anyways. I wanted to play around with these tools, so I thought I would do a live stream. But if you are here, feel free to post a comment and just say hello. And if you're watching later, feel free to go down below and post a comment. And if there's any other areas that you'd like more information on, let me know. So here I go. I've successfully generated an outline. So it's used with, here you can see it's a very short course. I've got my outline topics, subtopics. I can add additional subtopics. I'm just going to go through and use what it's built for me. But it is important to note that you have a lot of flexibility in terms of customizing it before we generate it, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and use AI to begin generating this content. Now, this can take some time. This is something where not exactly perfect for a live stream scenario, but this is where I'm now going to start generating the topics. Hamed, how are you doing? Hopefully you're finding this interesting. There's a lot of pieces to this puzzle. So, but generating this course or using AI to help us make courses faster is something that I hope is really good. So thank you very much, and thank you for commenting. So it's been almost an hour, and I hadn't had a comment, so I'm like worried. I'm like, oh no, is anybody out there? So some people like to lurk, and maybe people watch afterwards. So, and you're certainly welcome for the session. I hope that it proves to be useful for you. So as you can see, it is taking some time to generate, and one of the courses I created was massive, right? The critical thinking course here. So let's go to this course. So with this course here, when I was creating this course, and we'll look at it while we're waiting for the other one to come out of the oven, right? Hi, how's it going? Oh, awesome. Hello, Maria. So glad that you're here as well. It's, hopefully this is a useful session for you. And that's great that you teach digital design and production stuff, because that is a very human thing when it comes to making these courses useful. These courses do not have that design and that production value. So I think you'll find that this gets you to a certain point, but then your expertise is definitely required after that. And you'll see that in this course. So when I was creating this critical thinking course, it was great. There were some case studies that I thought were really good. You can see that because I chose Canada, it used the Canadian legal system for the case studies. So it did, some information in here. Some of this can be a little bit short. And in some cases, and I can't find it exactly, you do need to go through every single module. You need to go through every single module and ensure that you're reading it and that it makes sense. You still have your subject matter experts that have to make sure that what's being generated has value. And as I said to Marie as well, you still need your digital design folks. You still need the people that can add substance to this to flesh it out. But what we're doing, going back here, is we're saving time. We're saving time for a lot of the structure. And a lot of times, if you're building a course, it can be challenging. It's like, what am I including? And you forget something, and then you have to go back. By using AI, we sometimes discover elements that we maybe knew in the back of our head, but it brings us to the front of our head. So that's kind of a handy thing to do. So if I go back to the course I created, when I created the critical thinking course, one of the things that I really wanted to do is I wanted to add a section on logical fallacies. And I wanted to make sure that I had bias. So these two elements here, logical fallacies and bias, these were not part of the generated outline. So I went into fallacies and I literally typed in all of these different fallacies. So I typed in every one of these logical fallacies almost as an appendix, right? So the straw man fallacy gives me a definition of the straw man fallacy, how to identify it, some examples of it. So this becomes a really powerful critical thinking course that can help people learn about the different fallacies, but I had to put those into the outline. And when I did put those, and same with bias, I had to put the bias material into the outline. And then once I did do that, you see it does a nice job. Some of these are, but here you can see it generated this, sort of, different types of bias, right? Confirmation, anchoring, availability heuristics. And so that's great. But I went in and I added in specific examples like the framing bias because I knew I had a video that I wanted to share on the framing bias. So now what I've created is a course that's structured, but also has media in it. And that media can then either support the text or expand upon the text. So there's a lot that we can do here. Generally speaking, though, I do think it's a fairly clean looking course. I think it's a course that has value. This is a much longer course than the one that we're generating. And there we go. AI for Work, it's already been generated. We now have a course. So that's, and I was talking a lot. It's about 11:32. I started this at 10:30 my time. So just over an hour. And we've gone from understanding how AI can play a role in generating a course, all the different tools we can use to generate supporting resources. We can use those supporting resources to fill the generation tool, which is the eSkilled AI course creator. And now we've got everything in here. And as what we can do is we can now edit our topics. We can preview the course. And what's really interesting is I can go in and I can go back to the settings, modify those, and update the course. So if all of a sudden something new happens in the world of AI, imagine that, I could go in and add that into this course. So for example, let's say I'm finding that a lot of my students need to understand what AI agents are. I can go in and I can edit the course. So yeah, I'll cancel this. And I can go in, I can edit the course in here. So I can edit this page. Now this page just happens to look good, right? I've got I've got people all happy working in their safety vests. This is something you see every day around here. This is a given. Every time I go past a construction site, everybody's smiling. And the old sawmill worker in me wants to say, there's a bad safety violation happening here. Why isn't that lady wearing her hard hat? Anyways, I can go and modify my theme styles, fonts and such. This is where I might get somebody who actually has some expertise in this, right? So I think we have one in the house, right? So, the color themes, if I want to do a brand kit, I can make all the changes here. If I want to replace this image, I can go in and replace it. I can upload an image, and then I could replace it with maybe images from my environment, right? And the other thing we can do is you can actually go in and you could use AI to generate images that you could place in here. I'm kind of two minds on that. I don't like things that are overly AI-ish looking because I think there's actually almost creates a boundary between the learner and the material. Anytime I can include actual pictures of actual humans in actual places, I think that's valuable. But anyways, I can go in and I can edit any element in here. So here you can say understanding AI and its impact on work. I can edit the text that's in here, but I can also go in and start splitting this into multiple columns. I could do things like bring images in here. I can bring interactive activities like flip cards and hotspots in here. I'm not going to go in and make this a 5-hour live stream, but you can see the power here. I often bring videos in from my YouTube channel. I can bring my own quizzes in there. You can create an accordion, which allows you, this isn't going to be the most massive course editing tool you've ever seen, but you can also download it into SCORM. And for anybody who's worked with learning management systems or any type of authoring tools, you know that this feature, and you will need the annual subscription for this feature, but with this feature, you then can export this out and download it and then use this and do even more with it. You can edit your topics, you can preview the course. So you can see that we have quite a lot that we can do. We can even use AI. Let's do that. So let's generate a practical example, right? So I'll just do the current topic only. So I'm going to do a practical example of the current topic only. And then what it will do is it'll start off with a practical example of how AI is used, right? So it's going to be so in this case here, imagine you're an HVAC technician in Toronto. So it's got the Canadian context. And you can see here, I might change the text in here, and I might call it something like, AI in action, right? So, you can make it fun in here, and you can go in, change a lot of the elements within here as well. So for example, if I want to change just this banner, I can change the background image. I can upload my own image in here, resize it. So there's a lot of things that you can do, and you can always revert back to default, which is nice as well. So this is a useful tool, and now I can start enhancing it. I'll very briefly talk about the idea of tailoring the content, and we'll go here. So when it comes to tailoring content, let me give you just one example. I've already given you some, like on the critical thinking course, I tailored it by inserting my YouTube videos, and I just showed you that once we've generated a course, I can start tailoring it. But look at how much time I've saved. If anybody's ever done course design, you know that this is unbelievably time saving. I really think this is where, and I cannot emphasize enough, this here is the humanity. And when we talk about here, this is a big part of our human, obviously, I'd like to say the whole thing has to be humanized, but, if we just rely on AI, we're going to get kind of a staticky, a sterile course, I would say. It just doesn't have the humanity to it, even though we have things like the Canadian examples and such, which are great, but it is something that you want to consider, right? Okay, so let me just pop over here. Have to find my mouse. So what I can do is let me go into, let me do Venice.AI, and let me go into a text model, and we'll do Llama, okay? So something that I could do in here is I could also, actually, you know what, let's do AI, let's do the research assistant. One of the things that I can do with AnswerThis is I can create diagrams. You can do this in different AI tools, but I'll use AnswerThis, the research paper tool. We haven't given it as much love. We just generated a literature review in about 5 minutes. So underneath here, the diagram, create a diagram with some pros and cons of using AI in the workplace. So now I'm using AI outside of the course creator, right? And I can go in here, I can choose the type. I don't know if that'll be really good here. And we'll go in here and, oh, it's a coming soon feature. So there you go. Okay, so we'll go in here and create a table. I'll do a mind map, and then we'll generate the diagram there. So it's not going to be a table, it'll be a mind map. So we'll generate this mind map of pros and cons of using AI in the workplace. You can see that there's a few different elements here, but if I use one of the other AI tools, you can just do a strict table. But this is kind of nice, right? You got the two colors. Actually, I like this even better than a table. I think students would be more excited about this. So it's generated this here, and I can go ahead and I can download it by the clever name of Diagram 1796. Please do not do as I do. Do as I rename everything and keep them organized in folders. It'll make your life much better. So if I go in here, and then what I could do is maybe I want to throw an image in here on a single column, and we'll do an image only. So now I can add an image in here, and I will go ahead and browse, upload from this device. I can also generate images with AI or go through their free library, but I'll just go in here and open up my Finder window. And just so you know, I'm just grabbing this image. So I'm just dragging this diagram in here, and there we go. So I'll use that image, and we'll say, okay, use that image, and says invalid name, da, 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 da. Oh, it grabbed it as a mind map. So what I would need to do is I would need to grab it came in as an SVG. So what I can do is I could convert that SVG to a PNG or something. So cancel that. So just so you know, I'll show you. So joy of having multiple screens. If I go in, you can see that the image generated as a mind map is an SVG image, and I need to make that a JPEG, or I need to make that a PNG. So if I open this image, just open, and we'll open it with what tool do I have? I haven't installed anything on the Mac here. So let me figure out how I'll do this. So grab this here. Let's see if I can export it. No, just exports it as SVG. That's my only choice. So anyways, but I could grab the image if it was in a different format. I won't waste our time converting it. But what I did want to show you is that I can now add an image. You know what? I'm just going to generate one with AI just so we have an image in there. Image type will be an illustration. It will be a square. It'll be illustration style will be line art, and it'll be a pros and cons of AI in the workplace. This could be really weird, but I'll generate it. Sure, why not? And it'll probably generate, just sort of a line art image. And we'll see what it does. And you can see I've got 10 free ones, so it generated it. Okay. And did this. Let's grab it. Expanded upon the image. I'm just going to go with it. So it's going to, be some image that I want to put in here. Okay. Just do that. Close this guy down. All right. Takes a few moments. I can use my credits, but I get 10 free. There you go. Pros and cons. Not great, but I'll use it, right? Just as a fun little thing. It's basically the same image, but there you go. So I can have it in there. I can replace it. I can, the point being is I can do a lot of editing to this course by adding media and such. So very brief recap, and then I'm going to say thank you, everybody. Just a personal choice. So Matthew was asking, is there any reason to capitalize the pro and con? And it's a habit. So I just did that because I would actually, what I would normally do if I was customizing a course, and I don't have time to show you every tool that I use, obviously, but I would use Canva. So I'd use Canva to generate a lot of the images and the diagrams because I like Canva for diagram generation. It's a great online tool. If you haven't used Canva, super quick, right? You just go to canva.com and you can create projects. You can see this is how I create all my thumbnails, but you could go in and create a new, if we go to education here, I could create a new, there's templates for education, presentation documents, print products. So there's just tons that you can create, and then you can save those as images that you can then use in this course. Okay, so sorry I didn't get to your comment right away there. Got too many screens going. Okay, very quickly. So what we look at is we looked at the idea that what we want to do is use AI not to replace humans, but to save time. We can use it to create some ideation to make sure we basically go in and paint the corners, so to speak. I really spent a lot of time creating resources like outlines, competencies, research papers, all of that because the more I do in the research and the resources generation, the more I'm going to get out of the generation. And that's very important. You know, the more you can put in, the better quality you get out. But no matter what I put in terms of quality no matter what I put in, I still need to go in and tailor it, which this tool allows me to do. So that's just what I wanted. I wanted to play around with this today. That's the main reason for the live stream. I just wanted to test out some tools myself. And I thought, you know what? Why not invite all you wonderful people into the studio while I'm playing around with it. A few little hiccups in there while I was struggling with some of the tools. I'll probably go back and play around with them some more. But thank you so much for joining me today. And if you're joining after the fact, please comment down below on the YouTube video or the LinkedIn video and let me know, what tools are you using? How do you, not so much the individual tool, but how do you stack them together? How do you make one tool act as the input for the next tool? It's something I'm really interested in. So thank you again for coming, and I really appreciate you spending some time with me this morning. We'll see you later. Take care.